Hey yo, little Friday live here. Do it live. What's going on? How we doing out there? Do me a favor. This is gonna be. We'll see how long this thing goes, but I want to jump in, do a quick little live, make sure this thing sounds all right before we jump into it. I start talking to myself. So do me a favor, hit me with your favorite emoji. If you are out there, if there has ever been a time that you wanted to ask a question, now is the time. We're in here hot. I have no significant agenda other than to celebrate a Friday. I personally am fired up for the channel. Next week, a massive new course comes out. It is big. It is massive. I just got done filming the absolute last videos for it, the introduction and the promo videos. Fired up to share it. Geeked up. My man Jacob Timmerman, what's going on? Shane, good to see some familiar faces in the crew. Uber. Appreciate that, Jake. Yeah, man, fired up. It's going to be a big week for the quarterback school next week. Not going to lie. If you get the emails, I'm going to be just absolutely crushing your inbox. So get ready for that. I'll have a bunch of sample videos so you can check out the course. But this course it's big, and I'm really proud of it. I'm really excited to share it. It's certainly going to be expensive, very expensive, and it's certainly going to price certain people out. But I honestly think it's worth it and some. So fired up to share it. My man Miguel, appreciate it. Sub this morning. That's what I'm talking about. Spreading the word. I certainly appreciate it. We're actually getting really, really close to 150,000 subscribers, which is straight up bananas to me. I can remember single digits. It wasn't that long ago. But if for the channel OGs that have been here a long time, I certainly appreciate it. My man, Luis Fernandez, your videos have taught me a lot about quarterback play and how to see the game from a different perspective. Thank you. You are welcome. You are the man. Thank you very much for the kind words. Very cool. I certainly appreciate it. My man, Grady, it's going to be expensive, bro. I'm telling you, it's going to be expensive. But I'm really excited to share it. It really is. And I'll talk about it a lot next week. I got a bunch of kind of one-off things planning to do next week. Certainly we'll go live a number of times next week. Certainly have some sort of like launch thing on the 1st. Probably going to do a webinar. Webinars, probably not the right word. Probably going to do a live just because I know how to do the lives easy, and do an in-depth thing about pin and pull, maybe another concept if everybody wants to see it, what that looks like. But man, I'm fired up. It's really been it's been quite a process to get here for this next course, and I'm fired up to share it. My man Shane, what you got? Hit me with it. Aaron Rodgers to Houston so he can be closer to his family physician. Oh my God. Too easy, bro. I'm not sure he and Lovey could make it work. I'm not sure that's... It'll be fascinating. Oh, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I'm half like don't give a shit. Probably lean towards that way. I'm certainly tired of that kind of story and attention popping up every so often, but we'll see wherever he lands. Trevor, what you got? Hey JT, this year I'm playing JC ball at Grossmont, San Diego. Nice. I know, hey bro, well, whatever, I'm not going to say it. And they are primarily under center drop back team. What advice do you have for transitioning to that style for a former option and spread QB? Trevor, where'd you go to school? High school ball first. Next, transition. I mean, yeah, it takes some work. It does take some work to get used to being under center. I don't know what the best way to do it is. I think that there are certainly kind of quarterback gurus out here if you're in the San Diego space that can help you with elements of what that looks like. I personally think it's easier to play under center. That's just me, but that's also me coming from the opposite approach that you came from, where I started under center and then transitioned to more gun. The only reason I say that is because you get to have your eyes up the entire time. I used to not like taking my eyes off the ball or the eyes off wherever I was looking to get the snap, in a shotgun situation. But the fundamentals of playing that close to the line of scrimmage and getting depth with your drop, something you don't really worry about when you're in gun, I think matters. So I would make sure that you know exactly what your coach is teaching, what they're asking you to do. I'd get with him, maybe ask for like a sit down so you could talk through kind of the under center procedure for what their expectations are as far as stance, as far as hands, as far as ball handling, as far as play action, as far as depth on certain drops. So, hey, what's your floor on your 3-step drop under center? What's your floor on your 5-step drop? What's your ceiling on your 5-step drop? Where are you trying to hit? Those types of things, so you can be on the same page with what the pass protection is asking for. But I don't know, bro. That seems like taking a step backwards, in my opinion, football-wise. You almost see the opposite, where old school guys are going from, playing under center to playing a lot in gun. So, hope that makes sense. San Pasquale, I like it. Good luck too. Keep me in the loop how it goes. I got to get out there. I got a couple former players that are at Grossmont that are pretty good players. So, say what's up to those guys. If you see any Henry dudes in the locker room, Nicola Pickett? Question mark. When do we get to see your thoughts? You got to see my thoughts this week on Pickett until the video was claimed and blocked. So that's what happens. I'm sure I'll do another one at some point. I'm not in a hurry to get another video blocked. So that's where we're at with that. Sorry. Nicola. What we got? Oh man, Romania checking in. Very cool, Mr. TNA. I appreciate that, dude. Love the global impact going on over here with the game of football. Hey, Carl Van coming in hot with the super chat. Love it. Let's see what we got here. Hey, who was the better QB? Really, bro? All right. Got jokes. Carl's got jokes. I got right into football. This is going to age me. But I certainly remember Joe Montana playing more for the Chiefs. I remember watching like the Super Bowls when he was with the Niners, but I didn't really start loving ball until Steve Young was the quarterback for the 49ers. So I definitely have a more affinity towards that group, like in the mid-90s. But Joe could play for sure. Oh, man. Alan, you know this before I know this. Where is Scangarella going? Rich is a buddy of mine. Obviously not that good a buddy if I didn't know he was leaving San Francisco. But where's he going? Hook me up. Let me know. Alan, you talk about how important the quarterback coach is for Trey Lance's development. Would it be better to bring in mechanics guy like John Beck? I like John. I think John might be on staff for the Jets. Maybe? Question mark? I don't know. Maybe that was just last year. Let me know if you know where Scangarella's going, though. I guess I could just Google it myself, too, but probably won't do it during the live. I think the quarterback coach is significant for any quarterback. Now, I think if you're a much more established, like Hall of Fame type guy, it really doesn't matter per se, but it still can impact your day-to-day working enjoyment, certainly. But as far as someone who's still developing, who will certainly go through some rough patches no matter what, in Trey Lance, it's a big deal. It's a big hire. I think that they've got a number of big hires that they're going to need to make in San Francisco. So it'll be interesting to see, what they do if that is the case and Rich has moved on, because it feels like their whole staff is kind of getting hijacked, so to speak. Oh, Serbia, love it. Tony Chang would really like to see how you see Lance developing. I mean, I don't think I have any of the answers other than, what anyone else is just speculating at the moment. I think that there were things that he put on film that were great, that were really exciting, that people should be fired up about. And then I think that there were some other things that, weren't great, were the opposite of the spectrum that you would imagine he gets better and better at really quickly. And I think that will only accelerate when you get more opportunities to play and get that level of kind of in-game experience, especially when you haven't played a lot of ball just lately. I feel like he probably hasn't played a full season in years now, and so that's probably going to stunt some level of development, but I would look for significant improvement and to be fired up about what that position looks like moving forward. I mean, they gave up a lot to get him, and to see what he flourishes into when he becomes the dude is going to be pretty exciting for the entire faithful. Oh man, Rich is going to Kentucky. Really? All right, so the dude from Kentucky went to the Rams, and then Rich is going to go to Kentucky. Who's the head coach in Kentucky? How's he pulling all these NFL dudes? I probably should know that too if I cared. Michael, my man. What's going on, Michael? Do me a favor. If you're in here, hit me with some like for the live just so we can keep this thing growing. I'll come back to you, Michael, I promise. Generic Pats fan, what up? Michael, do quarterbacks prefer the field side to be able to their throwing arm side? I guess I don't think of it like that. I think some guys prefer certain throws to certain sides. I don't know if I ever necessarily thought of it like that. That's not true. Like on quick or like now screens to the left to your non-throwing side, I think they're significantly easier versus flipping around, flipping your hips and throwing that same throw that is not very far to your right or to your throwing arm side. I think that is much more difficult. But when you start talking about down the field throws or throws over the middle, whatever, I actually think it's easier to throw to your left because you can get lined up if you're kind of in that dovetail kind of footwork world that I probably preach on maybe too much over the course of the videos to make sure that you're lined up to the left. I think it can be a little bit harder to get lined up to your right because, if you're going to rip like a comeback to your right, not harder, just different because you don't have to be, you're almost not lined up when you go to throw it. So it kind of depends on the depth of the throws. But for me, when I was anecdotally playing, I didn't really think about it one way or the other. Like, oh, I only like outs, this route to this side or this route to that side. It was more prefer to throw it to the best player. There you go, Shane. Appreciate it. This is Bat. Bro, I was going to get back to you. I saw your email. Been busy trying to crush this course. I need to get back to you, though. I will at some point. Takeem. All right. All right, what else we got here? Chris, what's good? Raul. God, I probably butchered that. I apologize. JT, what are your thoughts on Kentucky QB Will Levis? I think he could be a first-round QB next year. My thoughts are I have no thoughts. I don't think I've ever seen him play. Now that Rich is out there, though, I probably will. Nicola, can Carson Strong be a sleeper pick for the best QB of this class? Sure. I need to get into all of those courses in the entire class here in more depth over the course of March. I'm sure you will see that over the course of the channel. Basically, the way that y'all who watch the channel can kind of see the process for me here as far as watching the incoming draft class is basically every video that I watch, I share. So I try to watch, crank out a couple a week and just kind of build kind of a better in-depth, kind of more clear picture of all of them. But I try not to make a whole lot of like jumping to conclusions based off one film, good, bad, or indifferent, and just trying to kind of provide the full context situation of what that player was going through. And again, I try to do it in a little bit longer format just because, I don't know, you could go get highlights anywhere. I think it's important to kind of show the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, everything in between, the kind of who they're playing with, who their opponent is, all those things to me go into trying to provide an accurate kind of snapshot of where these players are. And then the other part that is frustrating for people, and I get it, it's frustrating. It was frustrating for me as a player to go through it, is it's not just what you did in college, it's also projecting what you can do in the league. And so much of that is luck. So let me say that again. Projecting what you can do into the league is so much of it is luck because most of us, I'm going to say, are not part of a team, an organization that's making those decisions. So you do have to project what it's going to be like for someone to go play in another system, another team that you don't know what the hell they're going to go into, what their situation is like, what kind of talent they're surrounded by. A good example is like the Jets or Jacksonville. Congratulations, you're the best quarterbacks of the class. You go to the worst teams in the league. And, you're not going to go into those situations and have a whole lot of success, at least, massive success right away. My man, we got 57 of our closest friends in here. Appreciate it. Grayson, go Ags. Love it. Will the thrill. What else we got here? James Leggett. Just reviewing your videos for the draft QBs. It seemed like C Strong is much further along in the basics, except mobility. Is this a real deal breaker and should it be? No. That was good question. No. '49ers amateur draft scout. You drafting a QB in the first round in this year's draft if you were a GM. Hopefully not. If you're drafting a QB in the first round, that's basically saying that your team needs significant help. Adam Brugman just joined. What's up, man? Thanks for the support. But do you make or just joined the chat probably, but do you make a Kenny video, Kenny Pickett's small hand size? What do you make of Kenny Pickett's small hand size? I don't make much of it, bro. I mean, I don't know. Like, is it so small that he can't hold the football? I've never been, I feel like this is just like an annual thing that we come back to, that we try to project some, guy who doesn't have like a massive claw that he can't throw a football. Is it easier to throw a football with a big hand? Yes. Is there probably a point of, diminishing returns as far as, if you're like a small child, you can't hold an NFL football because your hand is too small? Yes. I would say the vast majority of guys who are big enough to play in the league at the quarterback position probably have big enough hands. I don't know. I just don't get into it that much. But I don't know what his hand size is. I do, I think he doesn't help himself. Well, let's say this more generally. Anybody who rocks 2 gloves all the time, to me, I think should expect some sort of hand size questions, because I think it just, no. I've worn 2 gloves before in the rain. I think it helps sometimes. I'm sure the gloves are probably much better than when I was in the league also, but I think, it just is one of those things that it's so like old school that, you have small hands, you have to wear gloves type of a situation, that it invites that kind of cautionary questioning. My man. All right, what else we got here? We got a lot of good questions coming in hot. Griffin Harbolt, do you have any favorite 7-person protections, like double goes with a basic? Oh, concepts. My bad, Griffin. My bad. I read the question wrong. Do you have any favorite 7-person protection concepts, like double goes with a basic, high cross with a post? Well, that's a good question. Probably. I personally always love like double moves. So, sure, if you go back, rip a go. My favorite concept is throw it to the best player. I don't care what route they're running. I certainly think, double post with an over, any sort of like 3-layer route, whether it be, sail, whether it be, dagger, those types of things. But I personally love throwing like corner ups, love throwing double moves on the outside, like a stutter go, any of those types of things where you can really block it up with your 7-person protection and take a shot down the field. Trying to think what else. Obviously love any sort of like switch releases where guys are switching who's the 1 and who's the 2 at the line of scrimmage, or really the 2 and the 3, those types of things where you can get into multiple double moves. So for instance, just imagine this. Okay, this is a play that's in the offense that comes out next week. 3 receivers to a side. You're sprinting. 7-person, we can just do 7-person drop back. Okay, the number 3 receiver is going to run a corner and up, like a 7-up. The 1 and the 2 receiver are going to switch release. The 1 now becomes the 2. He's going to run like a 10-yard hook. That's like the check down. And the original 2, which becomes the 1 with the switch release, he runs a stutter go. So you get a inside double move, you get an outside double move, and you get like a check down hook where you can kind of hunt up the space. So you think of it as like a basic or an in or a hunt route or a hook route, whatever. So you get 2 double moves and kind of a check down mid-tier throw. So a bunch of different ways to be able to take double move shots, but those are probably my favorite. Haha, Gray Ford. I used to do the same thing to Calvin. What else we got here? Man, we got some serious emoji game going on here. I love to see it, my man. What do we got? James Leggett. How fixable are issues like footwork and arm strength? So I don't think that they are the same. I think it's much easier to fix footwork than arm strength. I think you can improve arm strength, but I don't know if you can ever fix arm strength. So if you go out there and you just don't have the capacity to throw the ball hard enough with enough arm speed, rotation, torque, you know, there's very limited things I think you could ever do to get it up to the part where you need it to be for like a Sunday type of a player. That being said, you know, I think footwork wise, if someone maybe has just never had access to the coaching or never been asked to do it or never been held accountable with specific kind of what I would consider borderline generic footwork as far as timing, precision, expectations, that's certainly a much more coachable trait. Doesn't mean it's easy, but I think it's easier to coach than necessarily, you know, fixing arm strength. I don't think you ever really, maybe fixing is not the right word. I think you can improve arm strength by a bunch of different ways, but the ease of it is going to be much easier to fix or kind of polish footwork. There you go. My man Gray Ford coming in late to the chat with the hand talk. Love it. Oh, we got a little UK love here. Appreciate it. My man Ryan Wright wants to talk about Willis. I haven't talked about him on the live. Certainly have done videos on him and looking forward to doing more videos on him. I personally really love to watch him play. I think he's dynamic. I think he's crazy athletic. I think he's fast as hell. I think he's the best player on the field in just about every game that I've seen of his. So just trying to kind of continue to wrap my mind around what he's going to look like on Sundays and where he ends up, those types of projection type things. But I think he's a fascinating draftable quarterback this year. My man Nicola, people come at me all the time about where I get the tape from. There's no easy answer about where to get the tape. It comes from a number of different connections, resources, sources. There's no easy answer to say like, hey, go to this URL and you get all of the above. And so there's no good answer, bro. Apologize. All right, we got about 80 of our closest friends in here. Do me a favor, if you haven't up until this point, hit me with the like, however you go about it, smash it, crush it. I certainly appreciate it. The other thing, just take a hot second here, talk about, again, preparing the channel here for what's coming next week. Next week, launching what I would probably consider to be I'm comfortable saying, probably the best collection of football content that I ever create in the new kind of what I'm calling the JTO, for just a lack of a better name. And really, it's an offensive framework to be able to install, teach, coach, call, prepare an entire offense, and basically is the output of my entire journey with ball. So very, very excited to share it. It is massive. It will overwhelm your email inbox next week. It will overwhelm the channel. Probably going to do some additional stuff, whether it be lives, webinars, in-depth clinics on certain concepts, but I am very fired up to share it. So if that is in your wheelhouse, get your mind right. Also prepare you for a extensive cost to that. It is not free. It is significantly more expensive than any other course that's available through the channel right now, but I really think it's a bargain, and I'm very, very excited to share it. I really do think that it is, I'm comfortable saying, like the absolute best of the best that I will ever create content-wise, and I'm fired up to share it and hopefully help a lot of people kind of elevate their offensive ball. So, geeked up. Boom. What else we got? There you go. People sharing ways they get film in the chat. Appreciate it. I don't know. I haven't tried that one. Pablo, what you think would be a good landing spot for Matt Ryan if he goes out of Atlanta? I don't know, bro. I mean, I have no idea. Never thought about it for 1 second. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. Just about any spot would be a good landing spot for him. Grady Allen. Man, we're getting in depth here. I don't know if I'm going to have an answer for this. I already read the first 6 words here. What are the weaknesses in Ole Miss's offensive architecture that you found? I know there are a lot of strengths, such as tempo, personnel usage. Oh, this is interesting. This is a good question, and I randomly have an answer for this just because I most recently watched this. But just as someone who considers themselves someone of an offensive architect, certainly at a lower level than what Lane has done for a long time, But for me, I would have wanted to see more use of different types of personnels, so I don't know what their roster depth looks like, but I would love to see, more tight ends, mix in a fullback. And it doesn't mean that your offensive identity has to shift to that, but just the capacity to widen the edge, to widen the flanks, to be more multiple in maybe your presentation to a defense. I was expecting more of that. Now, they get to it in creative ways, and they certainly have a number of skill players that maybe they don't want to take off the field. But I thought that was an initial weakness just with what I thought they could do. I also thought that they kind of almost too RPO'd it. And I know that's almost sounds sacrilegious to someone who has an RPO course, but I felt like sometimes Corral occasionally, got too reliant on pulling it versus sometimes just saying, hey, we got the numbers in the box. Let's establish some physicality at the line of scrimmage. So that element of, and it kind of bleeds into that same concept of being a little bit more multiple with your personnel so that you can be a little bit more physical maybe at the point of attack, as opposed to being so spready all the time. And I love the spread offense and what it does. I just think being multiple would add another layer of depth to that offense. Boom. Gray Ford, man, you are making a lot of assumptions about me. You're asking the number 1 pick of the USL draft by the Michigan Panthers. Was it a good pick? I have no clue, bro. I have no clue. Oh, man. Shane. Oh, nice super chat. Fired up. Shane, hit me with that question again before I come back to the super chat here. Appreciate Takeem Hilton coming in hot. What 2021 playoff quarterback has the most pressure going into the 2022 season? I feel like Jalen Hurts does because he has the franchise quarterback question still lingering over his head. That's a good question. I certainly would probably say Garoppolo also, depending on what this thing happens. I know everybody thinks he's going to move on, depending on what that situation looks like. To me, the Jalen Hurts thing, I hate using the word interesting, but I almost think it's borderline unfair how he's kind of, held in kind of this like pseudo limbo world as far as quarterback franchise tag. Is he the answer? What are they going to do? I think right now he's probably a safe bet to say, who has the quote unquote most pressure. But I think we'll also be able to have a better picture of who has the most pressure when it comes to, post draft. If they make an early investment in that position, well, then it's essentially over. Maybe he comes out there and has another like Garoppolo type season, but if they make an investment early, unless you're Aaron Rodgers and can fight that thing off for, basically half a decade with what they did with Love, this idea being that, you can tell a lot by what they do in the draft. The other thing about it is, and I know that this might be not the intention of the question, but they all have pressure on them. It doesn't matter who you are. It really doesn't. I know it worked out for Stafford this year, but he very easily, a couple dropped interceptions or plays that go another team's way, he's got facing a lot of pressure. And so they all have pressure all the time. And I think that that's the part of playing quarterback at that level that you realize pretty quickly that never diminishes, and you need to be pretty comfortable with that level of expectation, uncertainty, ambiguity about what your situation looks like, unless you're, the top of the top. And even the top of the top, you look across the landscape of the league now, and whether you're Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, you're probably not finishing where you started. And that's just the reality of the league on a number of different levels. So there's pressure always that never ceases. And, whether you're Patrick Mahomes and you underachieved this year and you didn't play up to your level, or you're Josh Allen and you're, on the rise to be the best guy in the league and trying to separate yourself, and everyone in between and beyond that. So I think that there's just always pressure in it. No one ever kind of takes the gas pedal off that element of playing quarterback at that level. Boom. Oh yeah, there we go, Shane. Good one. I'll come back to it. I appreciate the super chat, Takeem. Thoughts on Art Briles being named OC at Grambling State with Hugh Jackson? Man, you are putting it on a T for me. Yeah, thoughts? Nothing cool, good about it. And really hesitate here, obviously, because you start talking about, elements of essentially Art Brow's Baylor scandal, number 2, as far as the sexual assault and what that culture program devolved into really quickly, and allowing him to come back into higher education on any level, to me, is not something that I personally would want to promote, be around. Now, at the same time, I think it's worth acknowledging who the hell's hiring him. Got a chance to spend a little bit of time around Hugh, and I think it says more about Hugh than it does about Art Brow's. I don't know Art Brow's at all, but I can tell you that what Baylor became and the information that's available about that scandal and his role in it, and or his role about not protecting people on that campus, to me is inexcusable. And for him to have his way back into any sector of higher education is, not something I'm rooting for. So certainly not rooting for that to be successful, and am kind of, I don't know, bummed is the right word, but I'm not surprised by it because it's college football and it's Hugh Jackson, but I am disappointed, I guess, in Grambling, in that situation, that he's allowed to come in there and influence, teach, educate, mentor, provide safety, talk to families about creating the environment that they're going to try to create, whether it's with the side of the ball or on that campus. To me, is just totally not acceptable, disingenuous, and disappointing on a number of levels. There you go. Boom. All right. We can come to an end here pretty quickly. How long have we been going here? I can't even see the time on this thing. Whoa, Roth coming in hot with the TMI. I certainly appreciate the support for the channel. Look for the new course coming next week. Very excited to share it on a number of different levels. If you have questions about it, hopefully get a chance to answer it next week. Look for a number of different lives, some clinics, different videos, a lot more quarterback draftable videos moving forward. My man Michael Ibsen coming in hot with the super sticker. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you for the support. It means a lot to me. And we'll just keep this thing going. Michael, actually, let me see before you go here. I see you put a question in right behind it. JT, do you think Justin Fields fits well in Luke Getsy's scheme? I don't know anything about his scheme, to be honest with you. I apologize. How can his strengths be highlighted in this system? I mean, I think it's pretty clear that I'm a big fan of Justin Fields and his skill set. I think it obviously needs to continue to develop in a quote-unquote like Sunday system. But when he was healthy and he was able to kind of let loose a little bit in the previous scheme, I think that he showed some of the traits that allow him to be a dynamic player and could be a really special talent for the Bears. For me, I think it's going to take someone that has the capacity to look at offense and the quarterback position in kind of that new era, new wave, where it is a true weapon that we need to use, and his skill set can be kind of polished to be able to take advantage of the arm strength, take advantage of his experience offensively as far as what those schemes look like, where he's able to play action, drop back, and drive the ball down the field. And then in addition to that, the run game, quarterback run game specifically, whether it's RPO'd, whether it's quarterback run game called for, whether it's built-in elements of him being able to take off if it's not there, coupled with the idea that he needs to be able to be in a foundation of a system that allows him to be creative. There is an element of creativity that comes across from, hey, let's spread him out. If it's not there, take off. Keep us ahead of the chains. Get condensed quarterback run game. And I'm not saying you need to run him 10 times a game, but to take advantage of that skill set, because if you're not, you're just not taking advantage of the entire his entire traits of what he brings to the position. And you could have anybody go out there, not anybody, but if you can't run as well as he can run, and you can't throw the ball down the field as well as he can throw the ball down, if you're not taking advantage of those things, you're really hindering his capacity to go out there and impact the game. And so I just want someone to take advantage of his unique skill set and what he is able to do right now, and then build on that by being able to kind of create a robust system around him that is built on doing what he does well. So hope that helps. Boom. All right, that's a wrap, y'all. I'm getting tired. I'm going to go eat some lunch here on the West Coast and fire it up. Again, the JTO, an offensive framework, coming next week. It is massive. Get your mind right. Fire it up to share it. Let's get into it. Have a great weekend. I will see you on the other side.